Unit 4, Lesson 2, Elvira's Equations. So we started the lesson by just thinking about how units of measure relate to the equations that these quantities come from. So as a quick example, you see on here on number 1, miles per gallon. So we know that we have to have miles, we know we have to have gallons. We combine those together with division, and that gives us a clue about what the equation should be. 50 miles, 2 gallons, that's just an example to do that. And then number 2 is talking about feet per second. How fast would a baseball go? It's 90 feet between bases. If that took 2 seconds, the ball would go 45 miles an hour between the bases. So again, that would be division, feet per second. So our lesson is really about using units and also solving equations that have more than one variable. So when we get into the discussion, here's the start of the story right here about Elvira. She's got these new trays in the cafeteria, and she wants to record some information. Well, we figured out how to fill in the table by going through and thinking about how things would be measured. There's 3 lines in the cafeteria. There's a salad line, a sandwich line, and a pizza line. And S, W, and P can stand for the number of students who went through each of those 3 lines. We have food servers. We have minutes to serve all the students. Here's our first exposure to what we call a subscript. It's a little letter that we put with the main letter, and it just helps to explain what it means. So M is for minutes, but which kind of minutes? Well, the T is suggesting it's for total minutes to serve all the students. And then a little bit farther down, you have P sub L, P for price, L for lunch. So it helps to kind of give you some more information about the variable when you have one of those subscripts. And you can see we measured things in terms of minutes or classes or students or whatever. Now, following that, we had this equation, A equals S plus W plus P divided by C. And S plus W plus P is the number of students in each of those 3 lines. C is the classes. So since we're dividing by classes, that is an average, A for average, the number of students per class eating lunch. Remember, not all students have to eat lunch in the cafeteria. And then we took, let's see. So there's not enough room to write here. So we went to page 15 to write out some of this stuff. And as number 3 says, you're solving for S. In other words, make the equation say S equals. I'm not sure that we did that one, but we did do this one. Revenue R equals price per lunch plus, or times, S plus W plus P. Whenever you have S plus W plus P, that means total students who went into the cafeteria. If we take that and we multiply that times the price per lunch, that gives us all the money that the cafeteria collected. R is R for revenue, and revenue means the money that the cafeteria brings in, or the money that any business brings in. So does P sub L make sense as an average? Well, let's take a look. Let's go over here to page 15. All right, so there we've solved for P sub L. In other words, we got P sub L on one side of the equation all by itself. And we did that by multiplying, no, actually we divided. We divided both sides of the equation by S plus W plus P. So does that make sense as price per lunch? So R is all the money that they bring in, and S plus W plus P is all the students that are in the cafeteria. The money divided by the students would give you the price for one student's lunch, and so it does make sense. Here's one other equation that we looked at really briefly. The D equals RT equation. That means distance equals rate times time. We can solve that for R by simply dividing by T. And that gives us R, which is basically speed. The speed is distance divided by time. So just as a quick example, if you went 100 miles and it took you 5 hours to do it, you would only be going 20 miles per hour. So how did we know to divide? Well, in between the R and the T, this little arrow I have between R and T, right here, in between, we know that's multiplying. So the inverse operation, or in other words, the undoing operation, is to divide. That's how I know to divide by T. Well, this was just an introduction, just a beginning. We have more of the solving equations coming up in future lessons. We'll see you next time.